We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Karl. Karl wants to make sure his Denon AVR-X7200WA is simply passing through his video signals. He sent pictures of his settings menus, and the menus are a bit vague and are frustrating regarding this matter. So can we help him make sure his settings are correct? So looking at the first one.
Yes.
Video HDMI setup. Is that the one we're looking at?
That's the first one.
All right. So let's look here. He's got HDMI out, AVR. Okay. Audio out,
so
AVR.
None of this, even though, and I know the one that's going to be the key that he's probably thinking of, but none of this actually affects the video signal that's going through the AV
one
receiver.
You're looking at here is the HDMI pass-through. What that is when you turn your receiver off. Mm-hmm. If you want your source to pass through the receiver, go to the TV, and so that your TV can play the content and the sound can come out of your flat panel.
Yeah.
Because apparently you spent all this money for all this stuff so that you can hear crappy sound. It's going to allow that through, and it's going to, which source is it going to pass through? Whatever you are watching last.
Yeah, that's the way he has it set right now. Yeah. You can also say, okay, every time I turn this receiver into standby mode, pass through the signal from the cable box input, because that's the only one I ever want to pass through, or something like it. It lets you choose which input or just whichever was the last active one, which is the way he has it set now. So that's, if you're using that, that's fine. But if you're not using the pass-through, you don't have to have HDMI pass-through set to on in order to let video go through your AV receiver without being futzed with by the AV receiver. That's not what that language refers to. And it should say standby pass-through. That's really what it should say.
Called. That's what it's called. And Karl, if you are at this point going, that is, why would anybody want that? We are on the same page, sir, you and I.
Now, here the other one is the auto lip sync. Now, maybe he's thinking, if I turn that on, maybe it's futzing with the video signal. It's not. You can turn that on. That's fine. Yeah. So you can turn the lip sync on.
The important one here is HDMI control. You have that to off.
Yes.
That is good.
Good on you,
Thumbs up on that one. I don't know if you did it yourself or it was just the way it came.
By default.
You were okay on that one. So let's go to the next one here.
Yes.
I like how we see his hands taking the pictures here.
Ah, right. Yeah.
All right. Video output settings. Video mode to auto. Video conversion to off. Well, there you go. It's not.
You're done.
You're not. You have correctly set it so that it will not futz with your video signal as it passes through. Let's go on.
That's really about it. I mean, that's kind of. Now, the one thing I will mention is those settings are per input. So if you set it for one input that has not set it for all of them, you need to go through every input that you use and make sure that's the setting.
I just looked at my receiver and got angry at it because now I'm wondering whether or not I have to do that. I'm pretty sure I would have noticed I only got like 3 inputs. 2 inputs.
Yeah. No. Video conversion off is the key setting for all of this.
Yes.
Video conversion is the thing that will futz with the video that's being passed through the AV receiver. You turn that off, you've essentially done your job. That's
and you've got, the video mode to audio is fine too. All right. So the next one, which we're going to look at, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with anything you asked
for. Nothing to do with video.
Because we're going to fix it. He's got multi-EQ XT32 set to reference.
No, that's fine. That's a preference thing. It's going to be reference or flat, or in the case of this one, it does have that front, left, right bypass thing that you should avoid like the plague.
Yeah. I would consider at least testing between reference and flat just to hear it.
Sure.
You might not notice a difference, in which case, whatever one is the easy you last listened to when you were testing it, you just leave it there. Yeah. You have dynamic EQ set to off. I would put that on.
I would too. Now, to be fair, sometimes people put that on, and when they are listening at night and they turn the volume down, they find that the bass is too loud because it does attempt to keep the bass audible. That's what dynamic EQ is mostly all about, is keeping your bass and your surround effects. But
I would at least test it on the on setting.
Yeah.
Okay. You then have dynamic volume set to medium. I would turn that to off.
Or low. I'm okay with low for that
I would turn that to off.
Yeah.
What this does is try to make the lows louder and the highs softer so that you the volume stays the
volume
same.
levels we're talking about,
Yeah,
not frequencies.
Not frequencies. Volume stays the same, more the same across. So if it goes from really soft to I don't know if you can see this on the video, but really soft to really loud, what this does is make the softer ones a little bit louder and the louder ones a little bit softer, so that it's more like this. And if this is the full thing, 12 inches is the full thing, then maybe 10 inches is low, and then maybe 6 inches is medium, and then just all the same volume, the high. I think.
But I mean, I'm very okay with someone saying, you know what, I don't really want dialogue to be 20 decibels quieter than the explosions. I find that jarring in a home setting, and I'd rather have the difference between those two things be not quite so large. I'm okay with.
You need to know what you're doing. You can't tell me. Don't. If I've seen this, I'm like, why do you have this? You can't say, I don't know. If you say, I don't know, then I'm turning it off. So you need to have done this purposefully. Now, the next one is Odyssey LFC. That's low frequency containment. The idea of this one is to keep the lowest sounds from vibrating your neighbors. You have this set to off, which means clearly you don't have neighbors to worry about. So
people have tested. It's just a roll off. There's nothing. There's nothing particularly fancy about it.
Yeah.
It's just a now. What's interesting is if you turn dynamic EQ on and you find that the problem you have is that at night you turn the volume down, but the bass gets too loud. If you have dynamic EQ on and Odyssey LFC on, they kind of counteract each other, and it turns out quite all right at low volume. Because as you increase the volume, both of them act less. Right. As you increase the volume, both of them, they don't change the signal very much. It's only when you turn the volume down that you really start to notice what they're doing. And they kind of counteract each other. So that is one kind of solution for being able to keep dynamic EQ on without the bass getting too loud at night when you've got the volume turned way down.
So that's it. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.